Good morning, everybody. Farmer Andrew here. This is day 10 of the sandy brush clearing job. It's also the last day of this job before the clients go on hiatus. So they're going to be gone for 3 weeks, and the job may actually, the follow-up work may be postponed even farther than that, depending upon some other factors. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a video at the end of the day today, just kind of go through the final state of the property after the work has been performed. So you can see I've got a bunch of these piles, and hopefully my camera will pick that up since it's in kind of shadow there. I've got a bunch of piles of these cedar saplings that have been limbed, so they're ready to be used for other purposes, whether or not they're going to be cut up for firewood or going to be used for some kind of construction purposes. And you can see these clean up pretty nice, actually. They could be used for a lot of interesting things. I have some Plains Indian blood in me, and one of the things that immediately came to mind looking at all these posts was, gosh, these would make some really cool teepees. But you can see also the cedar boughs here. Generally, I leave them where they fall, although they have some additional utility. If you're looking for soil stabilization, if you have some muddy ground or what have you, you can just pick up this stuff in armfuls, which is why I didn't break it up too much, because I think, as I mentioned in a previous video, there is a seep in the hillside. I'll show you again in a second. And these cedar branches dumped on top of it liberally would do a pretty good job of keeping your feet dry and keeping the mud from sinking. Cleared this area in the grove this morning, and so that is all done. There's really not much left there. And because I was not really sure where the client was going to want all these poles, I didn't actually make one single depot just to kind of save some back and forth walking time. So I've got a bunch of small depots, each one with anywhere from 5 to 10 or 20 trees in them. My job for today is going to be working on clearing out the rest of this. There's a few more trees I need to remove. There's some rotten stuff, some deadfall. I'm going to try and break up all of this stuff as much as I can, get this flat in here. So that's the objective for today. And you can see here more poles. This little pasture up here is pretty well manicured. The boys have been hitting that for at least, 10 or 15 minutes every day, just because they seem to like it. It's a sunny place, and so after the sun is up high enough, it's nice and warm, and they can come out there and get a little bit of green stuff and warm themselves up. Have some more poles there. So this is a pretty good example of some of the deadfall that I have been encountering on this job. Since it's all different ages, some of it literally comes apart as soon as I pick it up. Some of it just, it's still pretty solid despite its age. I have a couple more saplings to clean up over here. Not a lot. That's, just a little bit of work here. Some blackberry canes I need to decompose. This was I guess it was a burn pile at some point. There was a big pile of canes here, so I'll break that down somewhat. There's some more canes over here that also could be decomposed a little bit. So I'll be working on this today. This tree here, which the goats pretty much wiped out, I'll take that down. And then coming around to the little campsite area, I think I covered this in my video yesterday, but so you can see, much cleaner, much tidier. All the green stuff is nice and down and low, so it's much more suitable for use. I could easily see somebody putting a tent down here pretty easily. In fact, this little spot right here would be pretty sweet, right up against the creek there. I love this little creek. It's absolutely gorgeous. I can only imagine how nice it would be to go soak your feet in that during the high summer when it gets really hot outside. So down here, this area is pretty much the follow-on job. I think I spoke about this before. There's a bunch of trees in here, a lot of soft green stuff. So I'll clue you into one of the tricks of the trade for this type of work. One of the important things to do when I'm coming out and doing a site survey is to kind of guess how much of the work is stuff that I'm going to do with a saw or an axe or a machete or loppers, and how much the goats are going to do. So like you can see there's a lot of nice green leaves in there, a lot of blackberry, a lot of stuff the goats will yum up, some of those ferns. And then, mixed in with that, you've got that cedar, which is kind of center frame and kind of visible barely, which is going to be all me with a saw. The goats are not interested in eating hardwood, generally speaking, unless they get really bored. And you can see that's going to be kind of an interesting little job because that cedar is straddling the creek. So these maple saplings here might also need to be removed. We'll talk to the client about their preferences on that one. There's some dead wood down here. Some of it I can get. Some of it's going to be chainsaw work. So this is going to be kind of interesting because I think if this was all soft stuff, I could get through this section with a machete pretty fast in just a few hours. But because it's all interspersed with some of these heavy bits of hardwood, both living and dead, it might take a little bit more time than I originally bid. But that's okay, because one of the things I like to do every time I do a site survey is I try to make it abundantly clear to the client that frequently we run into things that, we just can't see. A lot of this vegetation is impenetrable when we start, and it's very difficult to be completely accurate when it comes to figuring out how much time it's going to take to get through things. But again, all this soft stuff, a lot of these, kind of grasses and reeds and ferns and stuff, those go down very, very quickly for any competent machete operation. The one thing that is going to be kind of interesting about this, and I'm not sure if the clients are going to be interested in pursuing this or not, but the section over here where the outfall for that culvert I talked about yesterday is, it's all wood. There's really not a lot of grazing opportunities for the goats over there because I think 2, 3, or 4 big trees all kind of fell on top of each other and interlocked. And so what you have is this massive tangle of limbs which are shading out pretty much all the plant life underneath. So the only stuff that's down there is stuff that isn't super dependent on a lot of strong sunlight. So I can very easily see the clients wanting to have this section of the creek be open to view, and you can see the creek kind of barely through the tree flowing down there. If they opt for this, I'm more than happy to do it, but this is going to be a lot of saw work. Decomposing all this wood, piling up, getting it out of the way. So, that one of the fun things about doing this kind of work is every job is different. I learned something new on every site, and I got to be honest with you, I'm actually kind of excited about what the final form of this project is going to look like when the clients are satisfied, because my understanding is they're looking for two things. They're looking for some beautification, and they're also looking for some practicality. They want to have a couple of walking paths that they can use, both around the perimeter of the property possibly, and also kind of just meandering around. And this property is 9 acres, so there could be quite a lot of opportunities for some nice little walks constructed in here. So I will make sure to have that conversation with the client this afternoon when we sort of have our end of work session discussing the work that was done today. And hopefully we will be seeing them again at some point later on this summer after they get back from their trip, and we'll see what happens then. Anyway, this is Farmer Andrew, and I hope you have yourself a great day.